So, hello everyone, Raymond here, and today I want to talk about the meta ranking of every Hearthstone class in the arena. So I've been playing about roughly 100 runs or so now, since in 2 weeks since it started. And I've tried to do, like 10 runs per class, right, or roughly or so. But I can admit that I didn't do 10 runs. Warrior because Warrior still sucks. And I'm going to talk about each class. I start with the lowest class. I'm going to walk way up to the first class, right? But if you want to listen to that, like I said, Hunter is the best class, and you can go pick Hunter or whatever. Right? But I will say that rank 9 then, which is Warrior, is absolute crap. Talk about why, say shortly. So rank 9 is very, very low, right? Then 8 to 5, we're kind of in the middle. They're still in that order that we are listed here. But they're still, like 8 is much better than 9, right? 7 is so much better than 8. And then you have 4 to 1, which are way better, right? So I think it's our 4 really, really strong cast right now. 4 kind of, mediocre, and then it's like Warrior, which is really bad. Warrior is still really, really bad. So number 9 is Warrior. Why is Warrior so bad? It's basically because the hero power sucks, right? And that's something that Fortnite Hearthstone never can fix, because if you cannot play something on turn 2 or turn 3 or something, you are gonna be in so much trouble with Warrior. Your hero power does nothing. But furthermore, this is something people always play about Warrior, right? But furthermore is that the hero power also sucks late game. So it's not even good late game either. It's just bad all the time. You're top decking, you're drawing one card, hero power, one card, hero power. Very classic in Hearthstone arena where you play that plus turn 10, right? And Warrior is kind of a slow class, so you should get into that. Your hero power still does nothing. If you're a priest, maybe you can heal your guy, you can do a better trade. If you're a Paladin, you can swing 1/1, that can be huge. If you're a Mage, you can fit off something. Same with Rogue and Druid is one. But Warrior is just like, yeah, I still do nothing. And Warrior is the class after Priest that easiest to get into, plus 10 arena runs. That's what I mean, turns, right? And so that's a huge detrimental issue for Warrior. And it's always going to be like that. And after that, it's all about that Warrior is, how can I say it, Warrior is like, I don't know, if you don't get weapons, you still suck, right? You see, you have these two guys, not talking about this sort there, but you still suck if you don't get weapons. And one problem with Warrior is that, how will I say it? It's actually a big issue with Warrior, I think, personally at least, is that it's the easiest class to play to in arena, seriously. With Warrior, you pick your weapon, you hit the biggest guy in your face, in the face, and then it dies, and then you hit. If you don't have good weapons, you can survive, and then you need like good late game minions. You need some minions in the beginning, so you have to play on curve. That's the only thing you do. If you play a Mage, yes, you have tremendously amount of removals. It's much easier to play Mage than Warrior instead of doing much better decks. But in Mage, you actually have to be like, well, should I flame this now? Should I do Meteor and that? I should save my Meteor. Should I polymorph now? Should I do this now? As Mage, yes, it's much easier to play and easier to win overall, so to speak. But the options are actually more, varied, right? As Warrior, you actually are playing, in my opinion, the easiest class in the arena. You hit, and hit. So as long as you have the good cards, you have the value cards in your deck, you will win with Warrior, because it's super easy to play them. That's the worst thing, I think. Because there's a very, very low skill cap to play Warrior. And that obviously makes it even worse, right? Because it's all about then how high value cards are. Like if you play Mage, you can do a lot of more stuff, right? With like Shoot the Pain, and that's not everyone knows. But that's still a class that if you're a good player or a great player, you can definitely get one more win because you're playing as a great player, right? But as Warrior, it's kind of like you just play the cards. The easiest simple class ever, and it's really detrimental to them in every way. Anyway, I see what I was going to say here about a few of the cards though. So I mentioned a few of the cards right that we've seen that I had, because I had 2 of these cards in my top 10 list of the best new cards for Arena, or I predicted before the set was up. And I still think this card are really good. So like Honor, Diehorn, and the Tar Lord are still really, really good cards. Still amazing uncommon cards, huge taunt cards. Just high value, especially the Tar Lord, enormous amount of health, right? So yeah, Warrior is better. But the problem here, I want to emphasize that the Warrior is much worse than the 8 class, right? And but not as much as it used to be. So the thing is that if you have a list of like points of 0 to 100 points of class, and Warrior had 10 points, and the second worst class had like 50 points, right? That's a huge difference. And now Warrior has like plus 30 points, but it's still the worst class because they're still so far away from the bottom, right? And that's the big issue with Warrior. However, I do want to mention that Stolen Feather, coming to later as well, is really good for Warrior. It's a neutral card. It's very often good for warrior because you do get these guys all the time pretty much. You will get those taunt minions that are good, like are really high value taunt minions. You will get them all the time with warrior. So this is a good card for warrior. Very good card for warrior, Stone Defender. But yeah, that's about it to warrior. Right? It's still a very sucky class. It's still like the shittiest class ever pretty much. So then we have Druid. Okay, Druid is rank 8 guys. I actually think some people say, oh, Druid bad? Yeah, Druid is bad guys. Druid is bad. They got nothing of value in the set, right? They have pretty much only the two. I'm gonna start off shortly here, but like, pretty much everything Druid got is bad, right? Everything's bad, and what can I say more Druid? Like, yeah, you have some beast. If you want to try play the Mirage Druid beast, and I've tried several times, and yeah, sometimes I got a huge deck that you could like clone the Wasp every time with the Mirage, and I got another Poisonous guy with Stealth, and it was really good. I have like 2 or 3 rounds of that. It's really good, but if you don't get that going for you, you're basically playing, you know, like worse Druid than you did last season or like last expansion, right? The thing is that also that swipe is worse now. I commented with Priest shortly, but everything has more health now. Everything is hard to kill now in Guru. Stuff is bigger health than swipe with it forward. Everything's actually harder to kill stuff now. Just like the 1-2 fly, you know, fireball spear guys. They have 2 lives and 1 life. It's actually hard to get the swipe effect you used to. It's harder, and that also makes the hero power weaker for Druid. And the thing is that if you look at hit, yes, it's good to be able to hit one, absolutely, but Druid's hero power is like strictly half as good as rogue power. Because rogue you get 2 hits for free, right? For 1 next for free. So if you play rogue, it's like playing, you know, you get the rogue, get the Druid power, and next turn you get another Druid power for free. That's pretty much how it's played rogue, right? Except 2 armor, it means nothing in arena. And then the rogue power is way worse than the mage power, because the mage power has flexibility to your own guys. You can trigger stuff, you can trigger all the enraged guys, you can, and it goes past taunt, and it goes phase these and so on, right? So the rogue power is still much worse than the mage power, but it's twice as good as a druid power. So druid isn't that good off, okay? It really isn't. And if you look at some of the druid cards though, look at the druid cards. We have Giant Anaconda, which I actually really like in Arena. That's a pretty good card, because usually you will get out an Iron Bark or some other, what is that tree is called? You will get some big guys out of the Giant Anaconda, usually. It's a pretty good card. You know, you basically if you coin it, you can like get an 8 or maybe 9 drop out of it. You know, the next turn when you sacrifice it. It's kind of like get one big guy for free later on. It's basically a pretty good card actually. Kind of undervalued if you ask me. And then you have, this is the only really good card Druid got, but it's still random. It's a 2/2. It probably will dash a 2/3 maybe. Maybe it's like a 1, maybe a 1 drop can heal it and still survive, like a 1/3 into with mage power. It's actually not that good actually. I didn't have it in my top 10 list, I don't regret that. It probably is like top, maybe spot 15 or something. It's not that good. You know, that's kind of how it is. And everything else just sucks, guys. Everything else is horrible for the Druid class in this expansion. Everything is bad, and they have no synergy with the elementals, right? No at all. They have the beast, but nothing with the synergies. And one thing I want to say before I go over to the next class is that Living Mana, do not pick this card in Arena. I've seen it several times actually, and I've never lost to it. It's a horrible card in Arena. Okay, maybe it's good like plus 10 turn, top deck it and get you guys out. But if people play that on curve, it's horrible. But you have to remember you have no mana yourself to play. You probably don't have the buff cards, you don't have the Volvo Adapt, you don't have the Lotus guy, usually don't have that. And even if you could play that, you have no mana. And I had a situation I played like, you know, some taunt minion, like Mokshu Warden for example. Yes, it's a bad card, but if you play that or something similar, like, you know, some sort of 0/5 taunt, my minions there, you won the game. This card is a huge liability if they have any taunt minion that are very weak. And that might sound like, well, you probably don't have it, but if they have that, you lost the game. So you just play a Mokshu Warden here, and I've done it against Living Mana, twice. And if you do that, they can't kill off their small guys, right? They can't kill the Mokshu Warden. They can kill the Mokshu Warden, right? But they won't actually get off their small guys. So they have like no mana left, so they can't do anything. They lose in their next turn, so you get this huge tempo swing. And then you keep hitting them in the face, but they have to trade into your guys. And they have no mana to actually buff them, so they have to trade into your guys eventually anyway. So you can easily ignore them always, just hit them in the face. You get, you know, head lead, you get face lead after health points. Usually, if you have some kind of taunt with their minions, or if you get freeze or something, they lost. They completely lost. It's a horrible card. Do not pick this card. Absolute liability. I see it actually quite really. I don't have too much rogues anymore, sorry, but it actually is very, very common to pick. And I think it's crazy. You should not pick it. Anyway, let's go to Rogue then. Rogue is now number 7. So it's a little better now. Because I mean, yeah, Druid is like the worst of the mediocre decks. So, as I hope I explained here, like the powers are kind of falling off. The having life, as I say again, that like getting the actual hitting for 1 life point is actually worth less and less now. So, almost as I mentioned, Druid power is good, but it's not as good as it used to be. Rogue's power, but it's much better than Druid power, it's not as good either. And Rogue got kind of like, I don't know, 1 good card, and Venom Weapon, which is coming in later, so I'll talk about that card a bit here. But the rest aren't that good, right? The rest are, Hallucination is pretty good, but the rest aren't very playable. Like, there's those race pattern things that people keep picking in Arena 2, they're horrible. I didn't show them here, race pattern cards, they're so undervalued in Arena. Play 2 to get like a 1/1 mana, you know, get like a Moonfire for 1 mana, horrible. Play 2 mana, get 2 Moonfires for 2 mana, absolutely dreadful. I see the card a lot in Arena. Rogues are very easy fit to bin. I actually faced very few rogues when I've done all my runs now in the weeks here. Rogues are extremely uncommon now, as Druid as well, and Warriors. Like, I have played more Warrior myself than I've seen Warrior at all. Like, I played like 5 Warriors in total, and I've seen like 3 Warriors. I've played more runs than I've faced Warrior. That's so uncommon. But Rogues are also getting very, very uncommon. And it's because of those cards. They're really, really bad, okay? You shouldn't pick Rogue. They're really falling down, and you have to use the old cards. None of the new cards are good except the Venom Weapon, which is like really good, and the rest is really bad. The station might be good. It's just weak. Like you wanna stay away from you wanna stay away from it. You know, you wanna absolutely stay away from it. But let's look at some of the cards that are good. So Widespread Slayer is a card that I said it's gonna be okay in Arena, and it is actually slightly better than I said. So I'm gonna go back at that. Because I graded it as like, it's probably hard to play. It is hard to play. But you do get 1 card off. It's either a removal card. It's not that hard to play it off at like turn 6 or 7 sometimes. You can coin into it, that's the biggest thing. If you coin into it turn 4, yeah, that's huge, right? It's a huge tempo swing. It's 3-4 hours, kill it or something. That is a tremendous tempo swing. So it's definitely a good card. Actually, you should pick it probably. Probably it's the best epic you actually have as Rogue in total in Arena. So that is big though if you coin it out, especially, and it's good having something to coin out, right? Because it's usually very hard to play with the coin in Arena. So that is great with this card. That makes me a card. Of course, you have a Venom Weapon, which actually is a really, really good card. I had it in my top 10. It's an amazing card. I pick it every time when I do my rogue runs. It's just very, very good. You get in the tempo. You can kill 2 minions with it. You pay 3 mana on your weapon. So you pay 5 mana to right assassinate cost, but you get 2 kills with it. So you pay half the cost for 2 attacks with 1 card. It's fantastic, and it's actually very hard to face because it's very annoying to face, right? You sit there, they kill one of the guys, and they have it on their hands, and you're like, oh my god, I don't have any slime in my deck. So you're like, the mentality that is actually quite troublesome because as an opponent to this, you can't just play out anything. As with the Wasp, as with the turtle, so on. The snail. You can't like play in any big minion you want. But at least you know that, well, if I wait 1 turn, then I can like flame strike, and then I can play my big minion. That's fine. But this thing, you never get rid of it except if you have actually anti-weapon thing, right? So it's very like, what should I do now? So you just have it in your hand, or using it to kill something like mediocre, like a 3-drop. They're having it on live at this. People are so afraid of playing. It's like playing Sylvanas. You're like, I probably should do this now. Like, so you can't force them to play like some kind of medium like 2-3 drop. So they think you will trade for it, right? So you get stuck in a situation there. It's actually very, very good. Much better, even better than it's going to be actually because of that. Because it reminds me of playing Sylvanas, and you're like, I guess I played this bad minion instead of playing a good minion, yeah. So your mentality, you lose so much tempo on it. It's very, very good in that sense. And then you have Hallucination, also a good card, pretty much the best team. It's the best team you can play turn 1 in Rogue. It's a good part to pick, but everything else is just really crappy. And again, Rogue got no beast synergy, no elemental synergy. If you play like the Servant of Kalimos, you get nothing for Rogue. It's just bad. They have nothing to gain from this. The rest of the cards are like Van Cleave or like the Rogue quest deck. So Rogue is just it is bad, okay? And I used to really like Rogue in Arena, but I feel that it's harder to play aggro now in Arena. It's more slower decks. It's bad. They are definitely down here, like the lower brackets for sure. They are not as good as they could have been, and like you shouldn't play them. That's like I say. And let's see here. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't find a card first. Yeah, so Priest is 6 now. I feel that I maybe should have a bit higher. I think Priest is good. Thing is that, as I mentioned, because it feels like the Arena is slower now, it means more health, so a little less, the aggressive means aren't that. There weren't really any like really master aggressive means. It's this expansion. So a lot of like this Brook with like 4-7 health, the Mammoth 6-10 or 6-9, 10, right? There's a lot of like slower minions. That is really good for Priest. That is great for Priest. It's easy to heal stuff. You don't need that much like the killing stuff. It's generally better, better meta for Priest, right? Because of all the cards. And of course you can look at my Free from Amber video, but also Priest just got really good cards. I think if you go right away to the Priest cards, I think obviously Priest is better because of that. And then you have Free from Amber first and foremost. It's a card that I ranked as number 1. So I was like, this is the best card I've said. I was like, the best card! And I was wrong. It's even better. It's even better than what I predicted. I predicted this card was gonna be the best card I said, and I was right. I absolutely stand by that. But even better than I was predicted it to be, because you get your Shaw all the time. You get the Legion. It's basically this is such a good card in the Arena. Absolutely, this card is groundbreaking good in the Arena. I used it so many times. I played more than 10 Priest runs, and you always get legendary pretty much. The point is the same thing. It's such a good card. So you pretty much pay 8 mana, get legendary, right? Or like a giant. But usually it's like get a legendary, get your Shara, get so on, get your Shara especially. So, but yeah, you have to discover a legendary pretty much out of some random crap legendary. But it's such a strong effect. So if you look at it, it's kind of like how to say it? It's kind of like here's your Arena draft. Here, instead of getting a legendary, because there's a legendary rare, here's a blue card, like a rare card instead of a legendary, which is gonna be a legendary later on. So you pretty much have to confirm you pick this card that's like getting a legendary. So you can have like 3 of these guys, and you get 3 legendaries pretty much in your deck right for Arena. And it might not be the best legendaries, but one of them is gonna be really broken usually. At least 2 of them are broken. So it's fantastic. It's a good card. Trust me on it. You look at my video when I did like the 400, the first 2 Priest runs. I got the Ashar like half the times. It's just amazing, and I keep doing it. Every time I play it, every time I face it in Arena, it's just ridiculously good card in Arena. It's insanely good in Arena. And then Priest also have the Elemental. So Priest has this is a good card in Arena. I had like place 8. It's a good 2-drop for Priest. I've seen Potion of Madness use, you play this Potion of Madness, that's usually the biggest tempo thing is played in the beginning of the Priest decks. In Arena, it's fantastic. It's actually really annoying. And generally, it's a good card, right? And I'll come into that now then, but also, when you look at Priest, and this is true of course also as well, you have the Elementals, right? So you can see down around me here, you have the Elemental cards, and Priest really is good with its elemental cards. First of all, you have the Tar guy, right? The first Tar guard, the 3/5 for 3. That's like the best card for Priest to pick for 3 mana. It's an amazing defensive card. Makes the game go slower. You can heal it up, right? It's such a good card, and it's elemental, right? So there you have that card, and Servant of Kalimos for Priest is great because you have Light Spawn at 4, and this guy at 2. The other guys have the 2, 3, the 1, 2. All those are good for Priest, and you play Servant of Kalimos, and then you can I can pick another one. Usually Kalimos you pick another one, right? But you also can get Lyra, which is usually actually really good in Arena if you get her. And she's common to get, with Servant of Kalimos for Priest because it's an elementary. So you have just a few of them. And also get Light Spawn and so on, it's good as well. So you can play that, then you can do some, whatever spell you play, you get more. This is really good. Blaze card is easy to play as Priest, quite easy actually to play. But it's play Fire, Plum is good, the Phoenix, you can shoot something, then you play the Kalimos, or then you play some more Elemental. It's just good, okay? A lot of good Priests. And of course also the Tulvir 3/5 Taunt, Divine Shield, great priest card, you know, very defensive. Most of the elemental cards are defensive, right? And some of them are, at least half of them are more. The common ones are defensive, right? The Tulvir as well. And they're always good for priests, so it's just fantastic. So I have Talkeeper again, he has a big Talkeeper priest. It's a very good card for priest. Absolutely should pick it. So yeah, it's just really, really good. I'm gonna come more to the later on with Mage and Shaman and so on. But yeah, like primarily priest definitely rank 6 or higher. I think it's gonna go past. Yeah, it's almost probably even higher. It's just really good. Like, all the cards are fitting priest. The whole meta is lower, fitting priest. And again, if his memory is completely broken, so good coaching overall in priest. So anyway, then we have there we go. Then we have Warlock. So class 5. This is probably, to me, the biggest upset, because I probably had Warlock at like second or number 3 last expansion. But they did nerf the Abyssal Enforcer. That was a huge nerf. Nerfing Flame Strike didn't matter so much, because Flame Strike you didn't want more than like 1 or 2 anyway in your arena deck, maybe 2. If you have like 3, it's just annoying. So now you play Mage in arena, you maybe want to get 1 Flame Strike instead of like 2 or more, and it's like whatever. You didn't win because Flame Strike. You pretty much had the threat of Flame Strike was big, and stopped the win with Flame Strike. But usually Mage was better with the Fireballs, the Phrase, Polymorph from any minion. Generally the File and Portal. There's a lot of Mage has so many good cards. So the nerfing Flames or nerfing the chance to get Flame Strike wasn't actually that big. And I say again, you only want pretty much 1 Flame Strike in your arena Mage deck if it's a good Mage deck. You don't want you want to have the tempo Mage deck, right? It's much better. So yeah, not a big deal. But Abyssal Enforcer on the hand, that's a huge card. Well, that's for Anguri, but that's a huge nerf for Warlock, because the 6/6 guy does 3 to everything. Usually you play him out, you clean the board, and you get a, you know, that's Flame Strike plus a minion, pretty much always. So you play that. That was a huge detrimental nerf for Warlock. It's just a good card for Warlock. And then Warlock is like, they don't have any beast, so it's useless for them. They do have 1 elemental. So if you play the Stonehill, you're gonna get when you play this, when you play Stonehill, you will get pretty much always the Tar, what's his name? Tar Lurker, Tar Lord. I have him here on the list, so you can check it out. What's his name? Tar Lurker, yeah. So you get the Tar Lurker always with Stonehill. It's pretty good. But anyway, the other guys, however, though, I still would say this though with Warlock. As I said in my top 10 list, all the 3 uncommon cards for Warlock are really good. Okay, so Lakari Fellhound, it's so hard to lose it. You have the lifetime. If you play like kind of, you know, rush down Warlock, it's really high value. It's like super annoying Sandian. You get like 2-3 cards. Just really, really good. Not the best card in the arena, but it usually is very strong. Yeah, and it's a big guy, you know, not a big guy. As a predictor, it's a very good card in the arena as well. You destroy 1/1 drop or something. Yeah, and also very good. I feel it's very good set as well. It's very, very hard to remove. You get like a 4/7 with Divine Shield, 4/7 with spell something. You know, it's just don't pick Wind Fury. Don't pick the aggressive things. So you're playing arena, so don't pick those like aggressive +5 stats something. That attack that's bad. You want to get like defensive traits, of course. It's kind of like a Twilight Drake is also Twilight Drake, pretty much like a good 4/7 or better. It's just really high value. And actually, even the Tar Lurker I have here, it's a 4/7 for 5. You know, pretty much worse than the Rock, but still a good card. You get rid of the match with Stonehill. It's just yeah, it's reliable. It's a good card. I pick it a lot of times. It's just generally a strong, solid card for Warlock. But otherwise, Warlock didn't get that much. The spells aren't that good. The feeding time isn't that good, and so on. And as I say again, like yeah, you have no other elementals. So you can't really play Servant of Kalamos. It's fine. You get Toleraker as well with Servant of Kalamos. It's okay. It's not very good. And then you have, sorry, there we go. There you have Thunder though. I think it's a good card. You get a spell. Apparently it's a good card. It's pretty good. However though, one thing I have to say though with Warlock and why it's kind of like Warlock is kind of good to say, but one thing is that Hunter, and I said this earlier, so listen spoiler. Hunter is number 1. Hunter is really, really good, and it's always been like this since day 1 in Arena Hearthstone. That if you play Warlock, you are pretty good as long as you face Hunter. Hunter has it's automatically an easier way to beat you, right? Because every light tap you do that's essential for them, right? So if you life tap too much, you get in a lot of trouble, right? And the aggressive hunter decks pretty much always beats any Warlock deck in Arena. Except it's a perfect Warlock deck. But like, you know, generally, even the really strong Warlock decks have strong problems with a decent hunter deck. And a good hunter deck crushes any Warlock deck. Versus the face hunter or the special one. It's very hard to beat them. Pretty much your hero power can never be used against a hunter in Arena. Usually, if they have a decent deck. So you get like pluses. So when you are at like 5 or 6 or so, get like 7 or 8, especially at 10 or plus, like 11, the last games of Arena. Like one of my last, my second last Warlock run, I was at 11, I faced a hunter, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is 11 run. And I was like, I didn't get to 12, I had 11 too, and I was like, oh, hunter, okay, I won't get 12, damn it. Like that's how I felt, and I did lose the game, and it really was like, yeah, he has a great hunter deck, obviously it's at 11 or 10 or something like that, and I have a good Warlock deck, but he has, yeah, I can't beat this guy. If I play Hellfire, I play this guy, if I play the Abyssal Enforcer, it's such much life points, right? It's just gonna be really hard. I have to life tap it, meaning if I have to. You cannot not life tap if you can't play anything turn 2, but after like turn 4, so it's life tap, you're pretty much gonna die, so that's a huge problem. And then Hunter being quite popular now, and in my opinion, I think I'm right about this, I think I'm very sure Hunter's the best class right now. Obviously, Warlock, which is the worst class against Hunter, has huge problems, right? And also, the Priest is better, because Priest is good against Hunter. Warrior is immune to the ability, so to speak, but whatever, Warrior sucks. But Priest is immune and can heal the guys, so it's much better, right? So actually kind of counters the Hunter, right? Where Warlock is really weak against Hunter. So, yeah, if you play the Hunter, you should lose, so it's... That is big though, that is big if you ask me, it absolutely is. So anyway, let's go into the next class, it's Shaman. So first of all, I want to say right away guys, we are leaving the Mediocre class now. We're going from 8 to 5 to 4, it's a big jump, right? So if Warrior is down here somewhere, Door is like down here, it's crap. Then all the guys like here somewhere in interval, those guys, then all the guys like up here, right? So it's like huge, it's jumping now. Shaman is way better than all the guys down here. Shaman is probably even better than the class 3 here. This is very close between the number 3 and number 4, but I think Shaman is a little harder to get the kind of class you want, the deck you want. I mean, it's hard to kind of get that really good deck. But if you do, Shaman is insane in Arena. If you do get the Elemental deck, especially, it has to be Elemental, can be like a Flame Tongue, Face or whatever. But if you get especially the Mental deck now in Arena, oh my god, it's so easy to win. The value of those cards is just so insane. The value is ridiculous. Of course, you have the Blaze Caller, you have the... Let's look at the war. You can look at all the elements, of course. You have, of course, the Blaze Caller. This is a great, value card. Even the Phoenix without the ability is great. Shaman Kalimos is just a ridiculous card for Shaman. Everyone can predict that, and it's absolutely true. If you play Shaman Kalimos, usually what you want to do is actually pick another Shaman Kalimos. So you can just keep playing. Because it's like a 4/5 like Yeti. For one more mana, you can get you another Yeti. So you can keep playing like Yetis, for like one more mana. It's fantastic in Arena. Otherwise, you want to play, of course, Kalimos himself with Shaman, which you see a lot. Because he's a, Shaman Elemental, so it's much more common. And it's an amazing card. If you trigger him, then you get the whole thing, right? You get the whole abilities. It's like a flame truck or something. It's really good. And Blaze Caller, of course, is a fire portal better. Easy trigger with Shaman because you have a fire elemental the turn before. You have Soul Sentinel if you play that. Not something good in recon, but you have that guy. You have the Blaze, whatever that's like, a Blaze guy. You have the new 2/4, which is a really good card in Arena. You have a lot of good elementals. Yeah, I think it's very clear. And no, the cards are good for that. Toolbeer is good for that. So not as good for Priest for Shaman, but still good. Tar guys, always a good card in Arena. So yeah, it's just really good. All the elements are so good, especially Shaman Kalimos. It's absolutely groundbreaking card for Shaman. You will get your, even if you have Kalimos, you might get a Fire Elemental. It's on curve, so you can play like something on 4, so Kalimos, then you get the Fire Elemental, play the Fire Elemental next turn. That can be a huge thing, use Deathman alone, we get the Blaze Caller, and so on. Right? It's just really good. And actually for Shaman, I don't have it on the list there, but you want to pick the 8/8 for 6 mana, the Frozen Crusher. I pick that usually for both Mage and Shaman and Priest, and it's actually a very good card. It's a good card generally in Arena actually. It's a big guy, and it's like, yeah, it can trigger your Blaze Caller because you're gonna pick elemental cards like crazy when you play these 3 classes, especially Shaman. So you definitely want to pick that. It's such a good card. Every team with Shaman is so good. But as I said, it's a little hard to get like a consistently good deck. So that's the problem with Shaman. You don't always get like this amazing deck, right? You might sometimes fall into a class where you say, okay, this isn't as good as it could be. Where for the next 3 ones, it's easy to always get a consistently good deck. But Shaman has a better deck than number 3 and 2 even, if they have the cards. So it's very, but still again then, that's why like 4 to 3, 4 to 1 is much better than like 5 to 8, right? Because here we're all like crazy good, so yeah, it's really good. We're also about the class cards here, and Paladin Search first and foremost is a crap card. This is a horrible card. You pick it in arena usually because it's either a removal card, so you want a removal card, but it's probably the worst removal except Forked Lightning, like Frost Shock and stuff like that, but Frost Shock is obviously unplayable. But like yeah, Forked Lightning is too much overload, so it's horrible. But this card is so bad in arena. The life thing is useless. You can't go with face with it. It's actually, oh god, this card really sucks actually. It's very, yeah, this is like a Lightning Bolt is 10 times better. Jade Lightning is a million times better. This is a horrible card in arena. You kind of have to pick it because it's removal, but I would say any other removal card is better than this card pretty much. Except like those obviously insanely bad card like Frost Shock, which is unplayable of course. 1 damage for 1 mana, this is really unplayable. But yeah, even Forked Lightning might be better than this card. It is really bad, and you can't go face right as with Forked Lightning, and it's like Stormcrack. So yeah, it's just it's a really bad card. Don't pick it. I try to pick it as easy as I can, but I still will pick it because you need a removal card. But like it's never better than a removal card. And if you see a minion next to it, it's like a good minion. The point here, I guess, man, is if you have a good minion next to this card. If you see a good minion, like a really good minion next to like a Fireball, you're like, well, Fireball is like, yeah, Fireball is also better pretty much. Or Polymorph, whatever, or Hex or something. You're like, yeah, Hex, it's almost better than whatever minion is, you know, because Hex is so good. But if you see like Tidal Surge, and the next minion is like, let's say something for uncommon for, like a Tar, yeah, the Tar guy, the 3/5 for 3. Pick the 3/5 for 3. It's just, normally you wouldn't do that. Normally you say, that's a good minion for 3 mana, really good minion for mana, but it's not as good as, you know, a Fireball. But this is not, this is horrible Fireball. Then anyway, next card is President. This card is so good, guys. This card is great, actually. I was like, this probably should be in my top 10. I was saying that this card is probably going to be a good card. If you have, in my review of cards, I was like, this is probably going to be good. This card is actually much better than anticipated. It's really good. You usually get out your about 3 Murk with it. And that's 3 Murks, plus they have to like use one of their guys to hit this guy. So they're losing them tempo, or getting your 3 life, or you know whatever, your Murks can trade better, so on. It's actually really annoying for people to face this guy. Really annoying actually. And like if you have behind taunt, and you so even it's not good like top 10 of course, like top deck, but it's still somewhat usable sometimes late game. You play like 1-on-1 card because you have all your totals out usually, right? Because you're playing like very slow, like, oh, you do a 2-drop, I do a 2-drop, you do a 3-drop, I do a 4-drop, like that horrible, like plus 20, really slow arena decks happens sometimes, especially if you kind of come with Shaman. You sit there with all your totals up, so you also have taunt up because of that, and then you play this guy. It's like he's gonna get like 2, 3, 4 guys. I see many games you get in that mode, and you're like, I play a Paladin, and I have my own Paladin team because of that. It's like, yeah, okay, you know, it's really good actually. Actually, it's a really good card. Very good. If you call it, you always call this card if you can. It's tremendously good at calling this card. So I want to talk about the card, just mention that it's a really good card actually. Much better than I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was going to be good too, so it's like 9 out of 10 cards. Really good, so actually already know. So then we have Hospital Guardian. I want to mention it again, talk about Elementals. This is a fantastic card in Arena. It's actually really annoying in Arena. It both heals, it actually might be one of the best cards for the class card. It's really good actually. It's a very uncommon card, you see it a lot. You should definitely be afraid of this card when you play Shaman. That's why I mentioned all, you know, I say usually you wanna learn every class, every class weakness and strength, right? You can't just say hunt is best, go and play. You wanna know, okay, what can happen when you play this guy. This is an uncommon card, it's very common, you see it a lot. People usually try to make elemental decks, of course. As you know all the good elemental cards, you can look at them quickly again, right? Don't forget about these guys, all these guys, right? And this guy is really good. Like he's It heals you, like I reinforce here. So you can heal one of your guys, so you should expect that. And his taunt, 4 life for 3 mana is good. And you know, it's an elemental, so you see him a lot actually. It's actually quite annoying. And yeah, good, very good card. And then of course, actually Spirit Echo. It's a card that actually changed my mind. I said this card might be good, probably gonna be bad. And actually, it's not fantastic. But I probably rated it like a 4 out of 10 or so, maybe 5 out of 10. But it's more like a 7 out of 10 actually. It's not the best card, don't always pick it, but actually a lot of times I managed to do this thing and get like 2 minions copied, plus usually, you know, 1 or 2 totems. That can be annoying to be able to like resummon your spell damage totem, your dagger totem, or something like that. So actually it's better. And if you pick a Wolf, I had the one day yesterday when I went 8 with and I played Spirit Echo and had 2 Evolves. And I can evolve a reader deck, and it was actually really annoying. I could evolve stuff like that and play Spirit Echo and get this huge, sick hand of like whatever I got, so it's just crazy. It's also very good with got sort of like the Goblin spawns an Ogre, because then you get one Ogre in your hand plus a Goblin spawns another Ogre, so it's like those kind of better guys spawn other guys, very good with this card. So you copy both of them right. So it's a better total to be. Not the best card, but better total to be, I would mention that. And then we have Volcano, and this card is so good. This card is, I had like what, number 3 I think in my top 10 list. This card is, this card is insane. This is probably the only card that's maybe even better than Flip Amber or Wicked Amber. It's pretty much the only card that Flip Amber is better than. Like, this is the second best card. This is really, really insane. You play this card, I said this card be good in the arena. Some people laughed at me, but this card is insane. It's a Flame Strike in worst case. But usually it's like, oh, you play this guy, or like you have so many times you see how it's turned around when I play this card. People are like, oh, I picked this card in the drafting, and you know they spam like well played when they play up the Sylvanas and Hero Food Ring or whatever, and they like do it at the same time. So they're like, how are you gonna beat this man? I have 2 legendaries. And you're like, well, Volcano, everything like it's like, whoa, yeah, so many times have I played this card and you turn around. It's so amazing. And usually you can sit there if you have it in your hand, totem hand. You can sit there and be like, well, totem. Okay, all your 5 guys died. And now, you know, I have comments past 3 now, so yeah, let's play guys now. That is so uncommon. You should be so worried of this card, guys. So worried. Every time I see a Shaman playing extremely passively, doing totems like turn 3 or 4 or so, or even 6 or 7, I'm like, what's he doing? Oh, it's Volcano play. He wants to, you know, don't play out any minions. And it's really, really classic. Every time you see that, you have to think you have Volcano in your hand now, and you can't just play one big guy like a War Golem or there was some random big guy, because that's like Flame Striking move. It's still can't be Volcano. So you have to like, you know, bait them out to play a Volcano after you play some medium guys. And it's really, really, really common to see that in arena. It's extremely good card. You can have like 10 of them, but if you have 2 of them, and that is just amazing. It's a rare card. It's just an insanely good card, and it even changes, as I mentioned, how you face Shaman, because it's so common to sit there and be like, yeah, I have a Volcano. It's so common for them to sit there and, you know, try to bait out your change and so on. It's just insane. And then we have the next guy, which is Paladin. Paladin is still high. I thought Paladin was a bit weaker, but I changed my mind mainly because the next card I'm showing you guys is this. That card is so sick. That card is the Paladin version of Flip Amber, and it really has had Paladin so much. And my last Paladin deck, I went with I think 11 or 10, and I had 3 of those guys. I can show you short, I had 3 of this card, and it was just so good. Like, this is just an insane card. It's more card with spell quarter. This card is actually the best card I got. Yeah, Paladin is Smuggler's Run is kind of out a bit, I would say. But the thing with Paladin is they always had really good cards and also some really bad cards. Like pretty much every secret Paladin has is crap. You know, Noble isn't really good enough. Getaway Code is kind of the best. Sometimes Avenge can be good, but usually they're picking the secret. Don't pick Adaption. Don't pick the first. Don't pick those 1 spell buffs. They're horrible. Those young is good though, but the buffs which 2 1 which is good. But don't pick those. Don't open that shit. But when I stay around the medium, like you have True Civic Consecration, you have all these good cards. You have as one of my favorite cards, Paladin, since last person is the what's called Grim Street Broker guy. It's like 6/6, gives 2 extra shield, That's a huge card. I'll comment the deck again shortly here. And generally, you know, Paladin has good cards, right? They have some really good cards and some really bad cards. So they kind of up and down, but the thing with Paladin is that because they have so many good cards and also crappy cards, what happens is that usually when you draft, you have like one horrible card and one really good card. And you're like, okay, good card. So you usually can avoid getting the bad cards, and it's really big. But this is the guy, guys, Stonehill Defender. This guy is so in, but I should have done videos of this guy. Let's see. I think it was last weekend. I played a Paladin where I managed to play nine legendaries. That's 9 legendaries in one match in arena, and they were all good too. That sounds insane, but I actually had luck there because I had Elise in my deck, so then I played her Guru pack, and I managed to get like 2 Pyros and 2 Calavers after that, which was kind of funny. Yeah, it's a lot of elementals out of the hard deck. But first and foremost, I played this card, Stonehill Defender. I had 3 of them. That's the same team as last run, and I managed to get 2 Sunkeeper Harry and 1 Tyrion Food Ring. I was like, wow. And then I also played Servant of Kalimos and got Lynaros the Light Lord, because it's also a good card Paladin, by the way. Servant of Kalimos, because you always get Lynaros. Actually, yeah, if you can get that working for you, the left card here, Servant of Kalimos, it's really good for Paladin as well, because you only have 1 elemental, and that's Lynaros. So you always get Light randoms pretty much. So it's not guaranteed, but it's extremely high chance to get Lynaros if you play Servant of Kalimos. It's almost guaranteed, so it's extremely high chance. And he's very good in arena, so he's very hard to remove, and if he hits yourself, you lost pretty much. So yeah, it's good as well. So I managed to do that and get heaps. I had 4 legendaries on that, guys, and then I played Elise and got like another 5 legendaries. So it was insane. But yeah, this guy in arena, because he's like discover a taunt minion, right? A Paladin has 3 legendary taunt minions. Yeah, 3 legendary taunt minions. You have the guy with Lifelink and Divine Shield. He's pretty bad though. There are two guys. They're gnome dwarf guys. They're bad, but like they're okay to get. You get some life. Divine Shield every taunt. It's okay. But the other 2 guys, of course, Tyrion Food Ring, the best card to get in arena. An insanely good card in arena. Also been one of the absolute top cards to get in arena. In drafting, you get this card all the time on Stonehill Defender. It's an insane card. And of course, Sakitarim, you buff your small guys, you can trade up. He's a 3/7, you can get small guys out, he has taunt, and then makes a card as well in arena. Both of them are really good in arena. Like Tyrion Food Ring is probably, I would say the best, but it's probably like, Saul I would say the best card in arena and legendary. He's usually out to win. Tyrion Food for me is probably like 2nd place or 3rd best arena card. It's in total. It's an amazing card. And Sakitarim for me, I think actually it's one of the best cards. It's top 10 at least. So yeah, you get like 2 amazing legendary. One of the absolute best cards in the game, and one of the maybe like spot 6 or so in legendary arena. Yeah. So and I mean you have a chance to get both of them, and they're really high chance to get them. And you also get that guy that gives double Divine Shield and has taunt statistics. Also this guy. So in worst case scenario, you should pick that guy instead of the legendaries, and he's also a very good card. He trades up right, he boosts some other guys, you can get some trades. He's a good body, it's like a fat Argent guy, right? And you get him all the time. He's insanely good. Anyway, next card then is actually Wine Cleaver. This is a card I didn't think was going to be that good. That's pretty fine in the arena. So, I mean, it's not the best card, it's not the amazing, groundbreaking card. Stonehill Defender is actually pretty much what breaks Paladin right now. But it's an okay card. You hit 3 times, it's a true silver for 3 more mana with 1 more hit. And you get 6 1/1s eventually. It has insane value as a late game card. If you play like plus 2/10 or so, and you can kill your guys, the medium guys to play out, you get your small guys out. It actually is pretty good. So it's a card that is very strong if you can survive. And it's very strong in that it's kind of even, and it's kind of like a slower deck. So usually actually it's pretty good on like the higher ups. That makes sense because when you play in lower arena brackets like the first wins, then it's more common to face crazy aggro decks that aren't that good, but might be good because you have a bad deck. So if you play, then this card is bad because you usually have to survive. But higher ups, you either face someone who has this insane aggro deck and you're toast anyway, or you face more slower decks, and then this card is really good. It's very good in that it's kind of top decks and everything. So it's a pretty good card. And also, of course, the next card is Life Fuse Stegodon. Not the best card in the arena, but it's a card that actually is very good in the sense that it gets you wins, but you don't deserve to win. It gets you wins where you can be like, oh, I have 3 700, oh, poisonous. I have won many games in this game getting poisonous on my hand recruits. And obviously it's very good with combo course with the Vine Cleaver, obviously. But it's just, it's a card that's not the best, but you definitely have a lot of chances to get some ridiculous wins from it. And that you really were after. You just get in the 1-1 and like Death Rattle is good. +3 usually also, detrimental for the opponent. And of course on the 4 mana, I think it's actually kind of better than the guy that buffs everything. I think it's everything to the 2. It's probably better, I think. Because the poisonous is on. The chances to get in this sick turnaround. And it's less mana, so yeah. It's a good card, imagine it. But anyway, the last card I'm talking about. Oh yeah, sorry. Of course we have the Steed. This card I had at number 6. It's probably actually better than that. It's probably 4 or 5, 4 or 3. It's actually better than I thought it was gonna be. It's an insane card in Arena. It is completely broken. It is crazy. Yes, it costs 1 more mana and that's technical power. But the Paladin has way more meaning to buff, right? Usually you buff is 1-1, and you buff anything and they can kill their stuff, and you have this ridiculous minion in the way. If you can't transform, remove it, you can't get rid of Death Rattle. It makes you survive this stuff, it makes you survive. When you play the Stolen Defender guy, it makes you survive to Tyrion, it makes you survive to Sandkeeper, right? It's just such an insane card in the arena. Double taunt. Yeah, taunt, well, the taunt, yeah, it's just an insane card in the arena. It's absolutely one of the best cards in the arena right now for class cards. It's completely insane. It's not on like 5th member level, of course, but it's overkill and so on. But it's just, yeah, this is a card that's good for arena. One of the few really good cards that Paladin got this expansion. I mean, Stonehill is the best thing, I would say, honestly, but it's a neutral. Yeah, the neutral is the best thing, but this card is very close as well. It's extremely good. But Dynasize. This is a card that I have won so many games on, guys. I won so many games on this Dynasize. It's a straightforward, like 9 charge pretty much, right? You buff a 1-1 and hit them in the face usually. That is usually what happens. And that might sound mundane, it might sound like, okay, this, but it really is. It's like a Pyroblast for Paladin, right? But better, because the Pyroblast stays on the board. And it's really, really insane. I don't know how many games I play this guy, and I used to just hit them in the face with them. So they have like, let's say they have like 17 life or so, and I have, 2 medium guys out, and one like 1-1, I buff the 1-1, that's 9+ damage, hit with this medium guys like I hit this one guy, and then they're dead. So this card, I have won so many games that you go in face with it. Suddenly you can do, as I say again, +9 damage, right? So usually, so you do an insane upswing, right? An insane charge kind of. It's just really, really, really good. And it's great with the Stegadron for that matter. You can buff your, wrong way. You can buff your Stegadron thing, and hit them with that, for example. So you get the more attack, and then it's taunt, and like it's just insane. It's good with the Stonehill guy. It's good with Sunken Butarium guy. It's good with actually all the new cards. It's good with having a lot of high points. It's just an insane card, and it's like, usually if you can't kill them, you kill off their big guy, right? With your new huge big guy from a 1-1 usually, and they have to kill their big guy, so you get 2 cards. This is almost always a +1 card, right? But usually it's just you kill them. That's the best part of this card. It's either high card value or you kill them. You kill them a lot of time with this card. It's a great finisher, and also good with Vine Cleaver as well. So it's just an insane card. It's a really insane card. This is probably the best epic card Paladin has right now. I'm probably sure that, yeah. I would say this is by far probably the best card Paladin has. The other card is the closest card now. Just so that the short possibility is really, really insane. Don't underestimate Downside. It's an amazing card for Paladin. I am always shocked how good this card is. So anyway, the next is Mage, which is like, Mage is still good. Yeah, Mage is still good, unfortunately. But I have to say, how Mage is pretty fun to play though in Arena actually. Paladin is fun to play too as well. Like the best card of the Hunter, or I don't know if Hunter fun to play too easy. But yeah, Mage is good because the hero power is still just broken. The hero power is much better, as I mentioned earlier, than Rogue and Druid. There's all the flexibility. The thing is that the hero power, so you can kill a lot of small guys, you can cope with all the old guys like Amon and Berserker and so on. You can still use that for all of those old cards, they're still good, right? And even though Mage didn't get many new good cards, both epic cards are insanely good. Meteor and Primoglyph are insanely good. Rest is pretty bad. But again, I'll say again, Mage has, of course, these guys. These guys are all really good with Mage, right? These guys are all really good with Mage. You have the Sons of Kalamos, that gives you Water Elemental, it gives you Pyre, which is a good value card in Arena. And it gives you, usually, you take Kalamos again, or you take the new guy, Steam Searcher, and it's a good card as well. And, you know, Fireland Portal is good with Mage cards, and then you have this new guy, Base Color. If you can get it off, you get next, Fireland Portal. It's just this kind of like trade-off elemental guys to have really high value for Mage. And yeah, that's the main thing. As with Shaman, it's very easy to trigger the elemental cards with Mage, and they are all very good if you trigger them. All the neutral elemental cards. The Mage card themselves aren't that good. The Steam Searcher is okay, but aren't that good otherwise. But still, that's one thing with Mage, right? They didn't like really nerf Mage, like in the sense, Fletchback isn't that big of a deal. Here, Power has all visibility, and I'll talk about one card later on too. The last card I'm talking about here for Mage is actually very important actually for the whole meta deck, so I hope you follow me in that. But yeah, so for sure, Flame Geyser, don't be this card, it's crap. So I say, yeah, this card is not good, I just want to say that. It's horrible tempo, I tried it out, this is horrible, it's so slow. It's a bad first shot. I mean, yes, if you have like 10 elemental cards, it's like I have to trigger my Kalamos, so Kalamos, okay, fine, take it. But otherwise, it's horrible. It's a horrible card. Actually, really bad. You do get a lot from your Steam Searcher though, so you will play it, but... Then Archaeologist, it's an okay card. It actually is not that good card in the Arena, because usually I only end up having like 1, 2, 3 secrets, it's like 1 or so. And many times then, I have the Archaeologist and I draw my like Mirror Entity before I play her, like on my starting hand, and then I'm screwed in that sense. Then you lose a draw, right? So she's not that good, but she's okay in Arena. I think she's okay because she's still a 2-3 for 2. So worst case scenario, she has a decent body, so I think she's okay, but she's not that good actually. Yeah, I think you usually have too few secrets to make her valuable because you draw the secret before you can play her and so on. And if you want to have one of her one secret, so yeah, it's kind of half and half. So I would say half the time you'll actually get the draw effect. So she's not that good. So if you have another minion that looks better in general, you should pick the other minion. Is it better Lutorero? Yes, probably if you have like 2 seconds or so, because the body is obviously way better. So you know that's worth half the draw effect, I would say. But I should mention that. Then yeah, actually there are a lot of bad crap to mention. Don't pick this card. If you play use elementals, okay, it's fine. Otherwise, it's just a bad battle book, as I predicted. It's not worth it. To mention it well. So yeah, still Mage is good even if it has some bad cards here, but yeah. Then we have Steam Searcher. This card is great though. It's a good body, 5/4. You should twist off everything, and yeah, it's really good on curve because usually 3 shows have Kalamos, right? If you have the elemental Dream for Gore for you. The 2/3 that gives you elemental small guys, which you usually pick when you play Mage. It's really good. You get the spell thing. It has a high value. The Flame Gauge isn't that good as I mentioned as a standalone card, but if you play Steam with this guy, Steam Searcher, then you also get 2 damage and a 1/2. So you pay 4 mana, and then in total you play 7 mana actually, but it's a lot of mana, but that's one card that gives you a 5/4, a 1/2, and 2 damage. So it's actually a huge amount of value, right? Insane amount of value for one card in Arena. So he actually is very good at Steam Searcher if you get it off. And if you have so much tempo, because you can't play the Flame Gauge, so if you're out of tempo, then you lose those. So that's not very good, but still so. And also one card I want to mention that actually is much better than I thought it would be, is actually this card, Multi-Defection. This is a card that gives you a copy of what you have. So usually what you do is that you copy something like a 6 or 7 drop, you get another one for like 4 mana. It's usually in your though sometimes, so it's kind of like, it's okay. Sometimes I get off, usually like getting off like a Frosted Crush shot to 8 it, but you have to take it, so it's pretty good. And it's actually pretty good actually, this card. It's better than I thought I just mentioned. It's usually like it's like copy a 6 drop, pay 4 mana. So it's like, yeah, 2 mana cheaper. Actually pretty okay. However though, one thing I want to point out, it's very obvious I guess, but I want to say it still, is that it actually is a good card that you do copy your legendaries. And yes, you usually don't have legendaries in Arena, but if you have a legendary, then this card is great because you can pay very little mana and you can be like, oh, I copied my Hogger or something. That's really, really detrimental for the opponent, right? If you copy a new Hogger when you shoot the boss team, extremely with Mage. Or I had a few games that I mentioned called the Archmage. That was fun. Like coin and then copy your Archmage. I experienced that. That is insane. So you get the fireballs and you get another Archmage and so on. That is crazy. But usually, it's good because you can copy your legendaries. Actually, it's very like obvious, but it actually is quite good in that part actually. And lastly, we have the Meteor. The epic cards, they are just really, really good. Meteor is also very good, better than Flame Strike, way better than Flame Strike actually, because you can kill one big guy and shoot a small guy. It's much better than Flame Strike, and one much cheaper, so much better. And then we have the Glyph, which is good. You can discover stuff, you can kill, you can bank up that mana, so you can later use a Flame Strike cheap and so on. Very good card as well, obviously very good card. Both these cards are very, very important for why Mage is still good, of course. Those two cards and like elemental cards in general make Mage still be a really, really good class. And however though, one thing I want to say now, some people might think about it, but it's a very important part here, and that is Bittertide Hydra. So this card, it's one of the most common cards you see right now in Arena, in the meta. You see this card all the time. Every class can use it. It's an 8/8 for 5. People love playing with it, especially it's good for Hunter. You see this card, right? You see that a lot. And it's really weak against Mage. And Volcano for that matter. And I love Volcano, Shaman very good. You do kill them with Volcano. But this card is very common to meet. I faced it 3 times yesterday, at least. I can remember last night when I played. It's extremely common. But as a Mage, you can shoot it every turn, right? Pretty much. And that's 3 damage to the face. Actually, it's huge for Mage to be able to do that. So usually Mage has a good, face value, right? Face damage potential. It dies easier and so on, but you do the one ship damage to it. It's a big deal to be able to shoot your one shot in this thing. You can definitely kill them with it, and it's actually makes it much harder to play against both Shaman and the Volcano, obviously, but also Mage generally with this card. It's like wow, it's a much bigger risk for you. And compared to Rogue or Druid, it's no risk at all. If they use their hit power to hit the Hydra, you win because they lost like half the life points. So it's like that's a problem. Yeah, do you really see with the Mage power still it's insanely much better than Rogue and Druid, right? So that's something I have to point out. This card is so common right now. It is extremely people pick it all the time. Pretty much the most common epic you see. It's neutral cards. Absolutely the most. I'll say the most common neutral epic card that you face pretty much, and off like the new cards especially. And yeah, Mage good at it. And then also make good against this guy. This is true for Drogon, especially. This guy, you can chip it down with Mage. Also with Rogue, of course, that's good. And also Giant Vesp, because the other classes can't hit stealth really. But Mage has Flamethrower, you have the Blizzard, you have the Flame Strike, you have the Meteor. Meteor is really good as well, of course. So you can hit this guy much easier. Because Swipe doesn't kill it. Christian does kill it though. So you can't hit it without Volcano kill it. But it's easy for Mage, right? Mage has much more of those AoE spells, right? I should mention that. And then again, now we get to the circle here, and that's because obviously the best class is got it. Okay, retry. Technically to that. Best class is Hunter. That was horrible. A lot of technical issues. Get me the right image. Hunter is the best class. Hunter is so good right now. I even had Hunter as the second best class after Mage last expansion, or like roughly so. Yeah, Hunter is just really good now. It's just, oh god, it's so good. I mean, obviously Hunter has not that many really good class cards now that are new, but there are so many new beast cards, like the Hydra. Like the Hydra that you saw. And those cards are, they're really, really good. Like, they're insanely good. So, that's why this list here is actually looping around for Hydra again. So I really want to point out that, yeah, Hydra is really against Mage and Volcano. So someone into Shaman, but it's a really good card. You see it a lot of times. You see it in every class. And what class is best with Hydra? Hunter. Hunter can buff with Houndmaster. It's a huge guy, so you use not die. People ignore sometimes. But then you can use your, kill command easier. Yada, so on, right? It's just a huge, huge guy, right, for beast. And also, So they're looping here. Hunter has the Gastropad. This is a great card. This is what I put the number 1 right of the new cards. An insanely good card in Arena. And Hunter, if you can Halmos it, if you can Dynamax it, if you can buff some other stuff, if you can like Razor Claw buff it, give it like the 1 shield or something. Yeah, it survives 1 trade. I played it so many times and it survived 1 trade because it has some kind of beast buff. That is huge. And then again, we had Giant Blast, we had this loop here now. This purple looping here. Because also, again, this card is called, maybe you can give it 1 shield, maybe you can give it 3 more life point. Maybe you can, of course, give it 2 more life points, so on. Give it taunt. It's just really, really good. And that's just say again. Then you have Nesty Rock. It's not a really good common card in Arena. You see it a lot of time. It's a huge body. It's great after your how do you call it, hyenas, which is Savannah. It's great. It's generally beast buffs, right? It's a very good beast card. 4/7/5, very good stats. Very, very good with all the beast buffing with Hunter has. Great card. Give it taunt is amazing. That's like if you just have taunt, you can maybe taunt with Ham also. That's 6/9 with taunt, so on. Really, really good card. Then you also have Richard Fletching, another one of the best cards you need right now. This is actually an insanely good card for Hunter because obviously it's 3 mana and 4 mana is Houndmaster or Dynamancer, which I pick actually quite commonly in Arena, and so on. Or you can adapt it, maybe you can give it stealth or so on. It's actually a really, really good card. It's generally a good card, right? And for Hunter it's best. And then I also have Volcanizer. This is also another very, very common card in Arena. You see it all the time from every class. It's a great 7-drop. That's like pretty correct if I may say so myself. And it's just an amazing card. Again, for Hunter, it's the best, right? So it's like, this is another really, really good Mediocre card that Hunter can use better because it's Beast. And then we get to the Hunter cards. And one thing you have to really, really point out, which is why Hunter is so much better to it, because it's not about that, okay, you have these cool beasts, you have these cool new cards. No, it's about a number of beasts. Hunter I found almost boring now in Arena. I also found it kind of boring in Arena, to be honest, but it's so easy to be Hunter right now in Arena. You're just like, oh, Hunter, okay, pick Hunter. Okay, pick every beast you see, win. Like, that's how you play Hunter, because you always kind of wanted a beast deck, and you got them like every half the time or so, and they were good. Hunter, as I mentioned, Hunter aggro which is really good in Arena. It's always been very good in Arena, especially the Freeless is now even better. But the thing is that you have so many beasts now. You have so many playable beasts. Look at them again. Like you have this guy, huge speed, right? They're all this is one of the 5 top beast guys. They have some other beast cards as well that also are playable, like the Mammoth is playable. Even the Ultrasaur I played yesterday in the Hunter deck. It's playable, 7/14. Give it taunt if you have good luck, it's amazing. But yeah, you have so many beasts now. So if you play Hunter and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna first pick like Dynamancy, that probably will suck. I don't know. But actually Dynamancy is insanely good in Arena. You can buff your retro guys and so on. It's very, very good in Arena if you have enough beasts. And it's like, okay, I pick Dynamancy and hopefully get beasts. You will get beasts because every damn new is a beast now. So you can play them and you get like 15-20 beasts, right? It's so easy getting half the deck or more with beast now in Hunter, because back in the days you were like, any chicken hates a beast, but no, I won't take it. But now instead you have like fledglings, like, yeah, that's a really good card in Arena. It's an amazing card in Arena, fledgling. If you can't remove it turn 3, you coin to 2 as well. It's such an annoying card, right? And if you can like Dynamax, you get coin, like, turn 2 Dynamax and turn 3 fledgling, they can't remove you like turn 4, Wind Fury, 5/5 Wind Fury hit again, protection for spells 5/5 or something in next turn. Buff it, yeah, like you can buff it there. Yeah, so on, right? It's just it's insane. There's so many beasts. Makes Hunter so easy to play the Hunter deck, Hunter beast deck, right? And then of the Hunter cards, there aren't that many good cards actually. But they have you with Macaw, great card. You play it out, hit a few times in their face, you get your beast back. So it's a card that gets another beast instead, and you get like 3 for damage to the face. Usually it's good. And then, however, you have Kraken Racemoor, one of my top 10 list card. This is a huge card. It's actually insanely good in Arena. If you get Wind Fury off on something like Savannah High Main, on your Volcanasaur or something, if you get a Wind Fury off late game with this card, you pretty much all will win, honestly. Like if you get Wind Fury on anything like a tiger. I had a tiger in my last deck with Hunter. But yesterday I played 5 for tiger right stealth. Then you play this guy and you give it like Lady Fury or something, and it's like wow, 10 to your face and I shoot you. It's like half your life almost. It's insanely good. It's Lady Fury especially. But also all the stuff like the Divine Shield and so on can be really annoying, and poisonous, but especially that shit can be really annoying. It's a good late game card as long as you have medium late card, as long as you have beasts in your deck, which you probably will have because you have so many beasts picked now. And early game is also a good card. So you play some of the 1-drops, even like the 2/1 1-drop things, you know, yeah. Even this card is pretty decent in the arena. And you can buff it with the Crazy Dragon Ball. It's like wow, yeah, it's a 2/4 now. So you know, so it's great early game if you have beast right. And it's a really good like in the mid game and even in the late, especially in the mid game. It's an insanely good card actually. It's pretty much good all the way through, right? And the worst case is 3/2 for 2. But he's a beast as well, so you can buff himself. You know? So it's just really crazy. And there's stuff like Toby Warden. It's okay in arena if you have the if you go for the aggro hunter, it's still the best thing to play right. You should generally you want to have a beast, but you also want to play that aggro. Then this guy has insane value. They like draw 2 cards for 5 mana and have a 3/5. That is really good as well. If you get it off, right? If you get it off, so it's a little riskier, but usually it's just usually it's just really good. And then lastly we also have Stampede, which is just like okay, you get 5 cards back up again. It shouldn't be that you're in arena, but as I say, it's so easy to just pick all the nearest or beast card in arena because you have so many good beast cards near draws. You can actually pick this card right and actually be happy in arena. Even this card, yeah, I would say it's good. It's a little arguable. It's arguably not the best card, so I'm just mentioning it there. But I do feel it's pretty good. So yeah, so that's out of the list. So to iterate again, number 9 is Warrior, horrible class. Basically, you know, the gain 2 armor is useless, even late game useless. It feels like it could be good. I know how it works, but I mean that it feels like okay, this ability is absolutely the worst you can do with turn 2 in the game. But still it's equally bad. And at turn 10, it's even worse than healing something. Because like this is never good. And maybe if you have something like if you have 5 armor, kill a minion for 1 man, something I don't know, like shield slam, but like more, you know, more. I mean like more fast, like execute, but based on your shield armor, like transform minion, something like I don't know. If they had more of that, maybe it would be more useful. Basically, only shield slam is the only card you can use, right? And you need to get the weapon cards, and it's not tricky. Warrior, that's probably too. Warrior has 2 like simple in-your-face cards. They're way too mundane and actually basic right, to play them. So it's actually very like you can't really be good as a warrior player. You just play your warrior in arena. There's no intelligence in it, so you can't really lift it up, in my opinion. So that's number 9, the crap. 8, Druid. Yeah, Druid got nothing new. Everything is just bad. Like everything is just, you know, everything for Druid is horseshit. No, but like it's hard to say with Druid, but it's just like it really is like what would I play here? It's like Anaconda. It's like yeah, nothing is good. All the new cards are bad, pretty much. They do have some beasts, so you might do Minerage tree, which is just like it's so much harder because the Hunter has much more beast synergy. Actually, Druid has, I guess, a roughly same amount or so, but it's more like Hunter has more of the like that really like okay, this is gonna win you, this is gonna win you the game. But Druid is like the clone thing is good, and the rest are kind of like mediocre. Also, Druid lacks beasts in their own deck, right? The Hunter has their own beasts, so it's kind of like yeah, it's just bad. Then you have Rogue and had Mage instead of Valeria because you see her all the time in the arena, so everyone goes for free. And yeah, pretty okay. You know, she had gone down a bit. All the cards are crap. She was kind of okay earlier as well. She was really good. Rogue was the best class in arena way back, like 3 years ago. But now it's like it's going down. And I think that Rogue gets worse and worse crap. Like Rogue was good when no one had anything intelligent, and you could use aggro them. But the more people get good removal and so on, Rogue just get less and less stuff. So it's like Rogue just get Rogue has become worse and worse every season pretty much. And these new cards, especially those recipe things, are so bad. They're the uncommon cards. The uncommon cards are so unplayable. Then you have Priest, which might even be better than 6. It's just really good. It's just a lot of new good cards, better in the meta general, slower meta general, better for Priest, a lot of good defense minions, have elemental synergies, great with all those new elemental cards. It's generally a good class in the arena now. Definitely gonna have Warlock falling down for sure. Really good uncommon cards the Warlock got, but the rest are bad. And again, I think one good point is that it's really against Hunter, right? It's countered by Hunter automatically, pretty much. And Hunter is the best class, so that is huge. And Hunters are more and more common, and that is obviously a very clear thing that you don't want to face the Hunters and Warlock. That's very annoying. And then you have Shaman. Then you do a huge jump. I get to rank 4 to 1. Then you have a Shaman, which is generally way better now. You have so many good elementals. They have Volcano, which is the best removal spell in my opinion in Arena. It's amazing. Also kills a bit high there. It's the most common card ever pretty much now. That is great. You know, all the good elemental cards are so good for them. 7 of Kalmos, best qualifier elemental. There's so much chances to go crazy with Shaman. Shaman is still a little though uneven, right? Sometimes you get these insane decks. Sometimes you get pretty half-crappy deck. The problem with Shaman is that sometimes you get these kind of half-assed elemental decks if you try to do them, and they aren't really working. So you get like 5 or 6 or so. You could really get like 7 or better, or you get like 5. It's kind of like it's kind of like all or nothing in a way, a little bit. But generally, this is good class right now. Then you have Paladin. Paladin got surprised most by Dino Size. I think again, that's an amazing card. Just wow, the face value. Kill them all with it. It's so good. Number 3, the Paladin. The Segedon is also insanely high value. Rest aren't that good, but Paladin still, to me at least, still works because Paladin still has like some of the most insane arena cards it also has. It's like True Series 1. It's so good, but also some really crappy cards. So they're kind of uneven. And then you have Mage, which is like they didn't get that many better cards right now, but they did get 2 really Meteor and Glyph is good epic cards. The other cards aren't that important. But again, as with Shaman, they have really a lot of elementals, and Mage has so much value from the Steam Searcher, for the Kalmos, server with Kalmos and coining those things. It makes it so much value in that, right? Again, I said that, but yeah, a lot of like circling around that, and still you have a lot of removal. Generally, and that hero power so on was fantastic, and it comes to be high there usually. It is a good class right now. And lastly, we have Hunter, which is obviously just like wow, you get like 10 new beast cards playable. Like Hunter, I just mentioned already, yeah, but Hunter got all the neutral beast cards that everyone picks. Everyone picks the Wasp, everyone picks the Snail, the Rook you see out as well, the Fletching you see out. Those cards that I've shown there, those are cards you see in every deck in Arena pretty much, all the time right now. Because all are very good beast cards, and obviously Hunter can use them even more, and so on Druid. So Druid should be better, but I don't see Druid doesn't work much. Druid needs something better. I don't know, like this Wrath is good enough. Like Druid lacks, of course. One thing Druid has lacked always is a big removal spell. Like they have the Mulch, but they have so Ultrasaur. It's like almost impossible for Druid to remove by that matter. And also like the Mammoth, like 6 times. It's somewhat common because it's a taunt and so on. Those minions Druid can't remove. Like you can't deal with them at all. And that really is noticeable now when everything has more life point. And Swipe is, as I mentioned earlier, worse, right? But Hunter is more like you go for the face and then they have to trade with you, and you don't really care about moves so that much. But yeah, all the good beast cards and getting some good class cards, but especially the Razor Claw, it's just really good. And the beast with other beasts, it's like synergy with his set pretty much. It's just really fantastic. And even Dynamacy, I didn't show it. I even felt Dynamacy is pretty good in Arena actually. If you get like 10 or more beasts, which you usually do actually, Dynamacy is actually extremely strong, especially if you have the Infested Wolf, 7 high main, the Beast, the Death Rate in the Beast. That is extremely hard to not have an empty board. When you buff with Dynamacy, you have like your Rhino when you buff it, there are 4. It's actually very good actually, Dynamacy. It's probably the tempo though, so you want to play it at a little late usually. But sometimes you play the 2/3 the cost to make everything cost more in your hand. And then you play Dynamax and you buff it like a 4. Yeah, it won't die, but it's hard to remove it. And it has like 3%. It's just kind of crazy actually. But yeah, that concludes it. Hunter's the best class, I would say. Kind of obvious in my opinion because there's so many good beasts. Then it's kind of like Mage, Paladin, Shaman is kind of just about like who's the best here. I would say Shaman has the highest potential, but it's a little uneven. Mage, as always, has good rules. Then everything else is kind of whatever. Yeah, I was like, whatever. So yeah, see you guys, hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day.